think this is most everyone, not everyone, for today. Okay, I'm gonna open the meeting because, as you all know, we will be electing a new chair. And so until then, I'll get things rolling. So
What happened to Paulina?
she's no longer on the board, but I'll explain that.
Oh, okay.
So at 5:35, I'll call the meeting to order. And I'm going to call the roll. Alan?
Yes.
Bernie? Jack?
Did you say Zach or Jack?
Jack, I said you.
Oh, here.
Patty?
Here.
Ted's not here. Ashley?
Here.
Matt?
Here.
Chrissy?
Here.
Mia?
Here.
Dan?
Dan's here.
Dawn? Elle?
Elle's here.
Zach? No. Kayla?
Here.
Christopher?
Here.
Do you like Christopher or Chris?
It's just fine.
All right, we have 11 members present. Okay. First up is approval of today's agenda. Someone could motion.
Could I make a correction or make a
Sure.
motion to make a correction?
Sure.
In the discussion on part C, in the last paragraph, it's just mentioning what we recommend for snow removal. And I would just add what I thought we said, which was whatever is safer and most economical. If there is equal cost and effort, then grooming would be preferred for environmental impact. I believe that's what we said.
Does anyone second that amendment?
I can't figure out quite where she's talking about.
Are
Oh,
you talking
sorry.
about in the minutes?
Yes, in the minutes, page 2, in the last paragraph under C, before adjournment, it says, the last paragraph starts, Ted Batriol proposed that in lieu of financial consideration, the board recommends snow removal on the rec path and community path, especially in West Keystone, down to the pavement, or grooming, whichever is safer and more economical. And at that point, I believe we talked about the benefits of grooming and said that that would be preferred if it were equal cost and effort.
And by grooming, you mean with snow, just a covering of snow, not total removal.
Yes, that.
Oh, yeah, that was about the inches. People were talking about that. I remember.
Yeah, and so what I'm hearing is you want to amend the minutes to say that at the end of that discussion, that if cost is equal, then the general recommendation by the group was that grooming would be preferred.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand or say aye.
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 Okay, I will make that update in the minutes.
Okay.
Okay. Next is So election of chair. So Kalina is no longer on the board, just due to the qualifications. You need to be on the board. You have to live in the town. And since that is no longer the case, that unfortunately Kalina had to resign. We're exploring if we can make a change to that. In the meantime, we do need a new election of the chair. While we're on the topic, I also want to address something else that happened, which is we realized that Zach was an alternate member and also the vice chair, which is an inadvertent oversight. And so what town council did is they made him a regular member so that he can remain chair, which effectively fills the vacancy that occurred, just to try to do that efficiently. He's not here tonight, but he was okay with this happening, as that was like a natural progression to move the alternate vice chair into a regular member. So that is all set, but we do still need a new chair. The way that we can do this is, as we did the first meeting, someone can make a motion for a chairperson, second, and then we will discuss and vote. And then at that point, they will take over the meeting.
Which we will help.
Yes.
Would anyone like to be nominated as chair? I'm happy to nominate you.
Oh, well done.
You want?
I'm an alternate. I can't be a chair.
I would like to nominate Christy Camp.
I second.
Well,
This has gotten a little bit more convoluted.
Okay.
that's a segue into something else I was going to announce later, which is Christy will be joining town council in April.
Oh, wow.
And so she will not be able to stay on the board once she is a council member. She can join like Erin does to
Okay.
Wow.
be a liaison. But there we go. You kind of perfect segue into all the updates that have occurred.
One well.
Great.
Our giant group is getting smaller.
And congratulations, Christy.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Did Jack's hand just go up?
It kind of looked that way.
I think I just saw Jack. I think I saw Jack's hand go up.
No, I think that was wishful thinking, but
Well, we need a chair, so someone needs to step up and
We will help you.
we'll help you. Or we cancel the meeting.
so what, I guess along that line, what is the responsibility of the chair?
The chair is the person who essentially runs the meeting. So what I'm doing right now, going through the agenda, making sure to help to consolidate discussion and summarize and move us through the agenda, but also to run the motion, second, voting. You're kind of like the liaison of the meeting and at times can assist with setting the agenda if necessary. Anything else?
No, just
It's really just the presiding officer of these meetings.
And as far as doing that, will there be someone at the meeting like yourself that will make sure that we're not running, running off the rails, if you will?
Yes. Myself or someone who can serve in a clerk role will always be here. Right now I'm doing both, but I'll always plan to be here regardless of if someone else is running the meeting and online.
Yeah, the last thing a chair would want to do is drive through a stop sign and not know it, so.
we wouldn't allow it. And quite frankly, because this is an advisory board, while you will make motions and things like that, we don't necessarily have to run it via Robert's Rules of Order as strictly as maybe a council meeting.
Okay. No, I'd consider it.
I would nominate Jack.
I second.
Very well done. And a vote?
Well, is there any discussion? Jack, anything you'd like to say?
Well, I didn't expect this to happen this evening, but I'll do my best.
Great. Okay.
Thank you.
We
Thank you.
will take a vote. All those who approve, raise your hand or say aye.
I,
Patty says aye.
Jess?
Online, if you could physically raise your hand on the screen, that would be helpful.
Bernie says aye too. Many times apparently.
Jessica, I can't figure out how to raise your hand.
That's okay. Okay. We have,
Appears to be unanimous.
so hard to see. Yes, we have, I'm seeing 10 votes. Jack, you're abstaining from voting.
Oh,
Got it.
I didn't think I could vote, so.
Yeah, okay, so Jack, welcome as new chair of the Trails and Open Space Advisory Board.
woohoo. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, I'll be leaning on many people for help, so I appreciate it.
Yes, thanks, everybody. I know it's somewhat awkward and difficult to do mid-session. Bernie, do you have your hand
very
up
much
for
so.
a question?
I'm sorry?
Do you have your hand up for a question, or was that just from the vote?
Oh, no, I don't. No, I was just agreeing with the motion there.
Okay, great. All right, Jack, do you feel ready to take us to the next agenda item?
Which would be the discussion, update on the E-Mountain bike letter recommendation.
Great. Lindsay is going to update us on that.
So, let me just start by saying it's all about me. This is my last public meeting. I am retiring. Did you know? Yeah, I'm retiring. 40 years in land use and planning. It's enough. With all that being said, I care very deeply to help the town, and I intend, just because I'm not going to be employed, I will be involved behind the scenes. So I'm not abandoning, but yeah, I need to enjoy my life, and I'm going to need some pointers with regards to that. So let me give you a little.
You're hiking.
I'm starting Tuesday. So with that, I think I have a degree of ownership of what transpired with the e-bike letter. And I think I owe you in part an apology. So it started with me having a meeting with a council member and a representative that I believe spoke. I'm sorry, Larry Wayne. And it was an informal meeting. I listened. I took some information from them. I'm like, well, this seems reasonable to bounce off this group and then, get a letter going and then introduce it to council to send off. Well, a couple things happened. The first thing that happened is we're not used to this process quite yet. And we reached out after many, many attempts to the USFS. And if you recall, with the funding and the budget issues with the federal government, it was tough there for a little while. We finally did get some contact with them and tried to get a better feel for where that issue is with the USFS, because a majority of what they want is on their property, not ours. The reason we did initially get involved, which does make sense, is we're a neighbor. We thought, we were under the impression that it was underway to be in the Soda Creek area. That turns out it wasn't necessarily quite that far along. In fact, it's not that far along with regards to that. That group is working with the USFS for various areas. And there's a process that needs to occur with the Forest Service. And once we found this out, we talked to the higher ups, if you will. And it turns out maybe in this case, it is more appropriate to let the Forest Service drive the ship since it's their property. And they have a process that they need to go through, pretty much environmentally based, but there are other components. And they have a scoping process built into that. That would be a more appropriate time to provide public comment and comment from this group in council. Also, it was stated that because it was not in our town, directly in our town, that we would hold off any comment with regards to that for precisely that reason. Let it go on its natural course with wherever it ends up. So I apologize. I made some assumptions, and then there was some degree of miscommunication between the applicant and us getting a response and additional information from the Forest Service. My apologies. With that being said, I know you put a lot of time and effort into that letter. It's not going to get ripped up. It will be put off to the side. And when and if appropriate, we will be utilizing it in the manner in which it should go. So I'm sorry. Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, Lindsay, this is Jack.
Yeah.
I read in the summit, and I'm trying to remember, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, by other towns supporting the e-bike initiative. And it is, I guess, 2 questions. So the fact that we're pausing from that has to do with the fact that the trails that are impacted are not technically in the town of Keystone. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, partially, but also the fact that the Soda Creek Trail, while certainly in close proximity to the town limits, that's not necessarily where it's going to go for a test case. And yes, I have spoken to a rep from Silverthorne, and they're looking into it as well for the drainage off of Rhine Gulch bottom.
Got it. So
sorry. Salt Lake, that is also being considered. So again, it was a little premature to automatically assume that it would be over here. We don't know where it's going to go. That will be determined, and rightfully so, by the Forest Service. But they're not to that stage yet.
So is there 2 different approaches to or different angles of this that are being addressed? One is, do towns generally support the use of these mountain e-bikes? And then secondarily, is there a study going on, or will there be a study going on as the test case or test cases to determine if it's the right thing to do or not. Is that accurate?
I think it could be accurate. I don't know where in the process the Forest Service is. Jordan?
On that.
All right, please.
The Forest Service is interested in if towns in Summit County are in support of this, but they are not at the point in their timeline or capacity of being able to start this project. And so they will reach out to towns when it gets to the point of them being able to do it. So it is two different things. They are kind of tied together in that the Forest Service has interest in if they should start this project, but they are not ready to start this project, which is why we are holding off on commenting until the Forest Service asks us for input with their process.
Okay. And it seems like the other towns that were quoted in the summit, the same things would apply to them as well, based from the Forest Service's point of view.
I am not familiar with what kind of discussions other towns have gone through, or if different towns, their councils have chosen to be more upfront in being part of the process before the Forest Service reaches out. So I think that's up to them.
Okay.
I can answer
All right.
that, Jack. The two towns that were discussed in the Summit Daily have special use permits with the Forest Service. So the decisions that they were making related to trails that they control as a town. I'm not sure if that specifically relates to the trails they control on forest land through their special use permits, or specifically to the trails that are on existing town lands, but it's one or two or both of those things. And that's a key difference here.
Got
Thanks,
it.
Aaron.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I think I would say that it interests me that the Forest Service is curious about where towns stand. And this committee reports, as far as I know, to the council. And this committee, as I understood it, was going to make a recommendation to the council to evaluate about a letter, not directly speak with the Forest Service. I personally see no reason why that can't move forward, because it would ultimately fall to the council's decision. And I'm not sure where it would need to be stopped prematurely otherwise. I don't think that this committee, from what I saw, was telling the Forest Service what to do. Simply recommending to the council, as I understood in the letter draft, that the town has a general interest and support in not necessarily one specific area, but in general, as well as some areas that might be under consideration. I see nothing controversial or why it would be inappropriate to proceed.
Aaron, that can certainly be brought up at council.
Well, council will be awaiting the input from this group. The instruction to pause didn't come from council. That's what I wanted to be clear about.
Sure. Yeah. Well, if I don't truly know what to do in this case, Aaron, with regards to moving this thing forward. I mean, maybe a talk with the town manager and maybe the mayor might be appropriate on see where they'd like to go. The letters, if indeed this does change course again, we would certainly take that letter and move it forward.
Sure. When town manager returns from his personal business, I'll be happy to speak with him about it.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Christy?
Yeah, thank you. I just wondered if you mentioned or if we know when this scoping will happen so that what I'm understanding is that would be at a time when it would be appropriate that we individually could support and also recommend workshops as recommended in the letter for the trail etiquette, because I thought that was just really a smart move of kind of the follow through of the e-bike introduction or support. And so I'm just wondering if we know a time frame or a website to watch to know when the scoping would happen.
So the Forest Service hasn't given a timeline. They've, to my understanding, communicated that they're not ready to start and they don't have the capacity right now. They're not sure when they will. I believe that when they start new projects, they do post them on their website. I could find out where that is and send that out so that we could watch, but I'm sure they will reach out to us when that does happen. And I will say that I do believe down the line, one of these meetings will be a discussion about specifically how we feel about e-bikes on paved trails in town, because that is absolutely within the sphere that we can start weighing in on. And I think there's some interest in talking about that. So that might come in a future meeting. Potentially, we could discuss it tonight in the community path ideas. That is something that we could talk about.
So the distinction here is that, again, the trails that are in Keystone and not not managed by the Forest Service would be things that we could take a position on or make a recommendation. But the, okay.
Yes.
So in that case, could we move forward with recommending just for town trails? Or do we need to wait on that? Since that letter is already done, could we just change it to town property trails?
As far as your recommendation to allow class 1 e-bikes on town owned and maintained trails? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I do think that if we want to open that up, we should
Agendize it.
We should have it on a future agenda so that there can be full discussion, because I do think that from the pieces of the discussion related to the forest trails that came up, that there is more to be said about the difference of having e-bikes on mountain bike trails and e-bikes on paved trails. So we can discuss that in another meeting and make sure that that's a full time allotted on the agenda.
That makes sense.
Yeah, not only does it make sense, but again, based on our recommendation about the paved trails versus other trails that we may come up with, that may have an implication as to how much support do we think there could be to allow e-bikes on paved trails.
Yeah, I think this is a good discussion that we can plan to have in a future meeting. I think that's very valuable and a good direction to go. Just with all of this like time that we've spent discussing this. All right.
Okay, any other discussion points on the e-mountain bike letter of recommendation? If not, can we move on to the next agenda item, the Capstone Graduate Student Project Update?
Sure. So I'm going to talk
And
about this.
I was hoping you would.
So I think I mentioned in our last meeting that there would be students working on a wayfinding and signage related project, and I shared the project proposal that we sent in that outlines right now what the potential scope of work will be for that. But I wanted to share more because we did get a student group that are assigned to our project and are going to be starting. We've met with them, Lindsay and I, a handful of times to make introductions and start talking about what their full scope of work is going to be. And they are really excited and also hoping to have time spent either joining some of these meetings or utilizing the work that you all do to help them with the project. They do plan to come to a future meeting, but they mostly start working in the summer, so not quite yet. But I wanted to share the project and hear your thoughts because the final scope of work is not fully set yet. And so if you have any recommendations or resources that could be helpful for them, we can start passing that on before they get fully started. I'll talk a little bit about the project from an overview. Hopefully you all had time to read at least like the part of the project that is like the deliverables and the purpose. There's a lot in there that was just part of the proposal as well. So the idea of this project comes from many places. First is that in the RTAP planning process, there was a lot of need for trail connectivity defined and rec path connectivity. And the council has also talked about a need for better signage and wayfinding, partly to help people stay connected and know where they're going, and also so that our town identity is conveyed through trail usage and recreation. And this project does both of those things. It brings together this idea of let's improve connectivity on the rec path and the community path by making sure all those really key confusing sections are properly signed and clear and mapped, while also making sure that key connections to other important things in town are accounted for. Things like where are there points of interest and historical sites that might be neat to go to? Where are key trail connections like the one right up here, or like all the different ways that you can access recreation from the like central travel of the rec path and the community path. And then also just connecting different pieces of town. We have River Run, Lakeside, you know, everything in between our east-west borders. We're not as centralized yet. So just helping people to connect would be great. And so the students are going to the best of their ability, put together all of these elements into a wayfinding and signage plan, potentially a map that can be outward facing to show, here's some key interests. This is how you navigate paths around town. These are trail connections. And then helping to identify some funding sources that might help us to get these projects to the implementation stage. We certainly are ready and excited to implement wayfinding and signage. So this is like a great first step to design signs, figure out where they need to go. The students are going to write their own scope of work based on this, and we'll sign off on it before they start. There are 4 of them, and they are each working about 300 total hours from May to August on this, but they will be part of this project starting already, and then through December, they'll do some wrap up. So we have them for about a year, which is great. I'll stop there. I would love to hear everyone's thoughts and questions about the project.
I just think it's great.
Glad to hear that.
I don't have anything to add.
Oh, yeah. Get those grad students to work. It's awesome.
Who is going to be supervising them?
I will, with the help of anyone I can get. So they're definitely going to reach out to you. They've asked for your meeting schedule already. They want to engage you as key stakeholders in the project. They're definitely going to try to reach out to members of the community. So they're considering doing either a community workshop or setting up a booth at some events that happen in town throughout the summer. So they're trying to be involved with everybody, but I will oversee their project.
And what do you envision some of the key deliverables to be?
They ask me this every week, which is great practice. I think the most important thing is identifying where wayfinding and signage needs to be. so that if they don't get to the piece of designing signs and making recommendations about specifics, just knowing where the key points are along the rec path and the community path and the trail connections that branch from it, where things are confusing, I think would be the most valuable, so that we know sign here, sign there, colorful paving here, things like that. And then on the internal side, if they were to just like inventory that, so I know what to maintain and look for and seek out signs for, I think those are like the key deliverables.
Do we know
So
what,
just,
do we know what, we want uniformity. Has someone laid out the Keystone representation for signs? Do we know that? I mean, that seems to be very important.
Yeah, we don't know for sure yet. What I do know is that the volunteer marketing committee is working on branding, logo,
Yeah.
town identity. So that might be helpful. I do know that we, I believe in council 2 sessions ago, they wanted to keep the similar signage, like for the Keystone Center here, like that similar style, to make our Keystone Town Hall sign. So I think there's some interest in how things are going to look. But one thing we're asking the students to do is to identify a plan for uniform signage that clues people in, like, this is Keystone, I'm going the right way. So I think that's a big part of it. Christy?
Yeah, thank you. I was just wondering, under the surrounding nature section, if you wanted to have specifics about 2 different thoughts. One would be a question for you is, will this group be able to do research on their own? As far as an example would be where to put like a wildlife corridor. Would they be able to address certain issues or certain, like you're saying, markers, certain things that could be helpful to maintaining the nature? Will they be able to do research?
I believe that they could. And I do think that, like, you and this whole board's help with that would be very good, because they're not familiar with the town yet. They are coming up this weekend for their own self-guided introduction to Keystone. So they're going to start getting to know everything. But any information that you have that will be helpful for them, I think they've already asked for a list of all of the different like trail inventory and conditions that TOSAB has identified. So they are very interested in what you all already know and can provide them.
Okay, thank you. And a second question would be, or a follow-up to that would be, I do have information on Riverwatch. It's a program about the river health of our portion of the Snake River, and it has been tested long-term by Blue River Watershed Group through the program Riverwatch. And so because they used to have to drive the volunteers in our town or representing our town to go over at Keystone Science School is the site that has long-term data. And they actually, get the sample according to the rules of Riverwatch. And then they had to drive to Breckenridge. And so now I've volunteered for at least this year to be the lab tech for the CMC Dillon lab. So now it's much less of a day once a month to go over and do the river sample and then to go over to or to just show up to the CMC Dillon lab and to run the sample. And those get, mailed off and compared. We're also in the same lab with the Blue River sampling. So it's very informative. So I would love to provide information to anyone in this group and to that those students when they're ready for that.
That would be really helpful. Thank you. And Christy sent me some information that I can provide with you all as well. Jack?
Yeah, Jessica, as you look at this capstone proposal and the deliverables from it, and compare it against what we're working on the Open Space Advisory Board and our deliverables. What are the watchouts, or what are the things that we need to be aware of that so that we're not creating a situation where the results of this capstone proposal could compromise what some of our proposals would be, or put it another way, that whatever we come up with on this advisory board could be supplemented what this capstone project will deliver. So the signage could be adjusted, or, because I would think there may be some changes to the pathing, if you will, throughout Keystone that would require further further signs, further information to be able to provide people the guidance they need and how to get from one part of the town to the other in the best way possible. So I'm just wondering if you've considered that, and how can we support this project and yet at the same time realize where whatever limitations this capstone proposal would have based on what we're working on. I don't know if that makes sense.
That does. That's a great question. I've definitely thought about how the work done here and the work that the capstone students are doing can go together. I definitely think that they're going to benefit a lot from coming in to talk to you all, because they're trying to learn they're playing catch up on a lot of information that you all already know, and that you understand the nuances of trail challenges that we have. And it's going to take a lot of burden off of them to share that with them up front so that you can work through solutions. That being said, I do see that there could be some difficulty if you all are making recommended changes while they're trying to work with static data. If that's what you're getting at,
yeah, and so
about that.
Yeah, I don't know if that results in them coming up with proposals on things that everyone agrees won't change. And, for example, where River Run is versus Mountain House versus, et cetera, versus those things that may ultimately result in a walking path that may be different in encouraging people to take than the rec path to get from point A to point B.
Mm-hmm.
So if we
That's a good
understand, if we understand that, then maybe there's a way that their contributions won't be compromised based on what we come up with, but we allow whatever they put in place that could be supplemented by what our ultimate recommendations and approvals that we receive are.
I think you make a really good point, and what I'm hearing is that when I am helping them to develop their scope of work and going through the project, it would be more useful if they had solutions that could be applied even if changes occur to the rec path, the community path, or trails, like maybe more of a apply this method to solve the problem rather than like setting very specific points that could change. I think that would be really useful so that it's more of a guide to solving this trail marker being missing, as opposed to we need a trail marker at this trail and it should be here and look like this. So maybe it's a little bit of both. Overall, they're going to be working with you more than just, they would like to work with you more than just coming to one meeting. They want you all involved in their stakeholder engagement, which might be an extra workshop or separate meetings, smaller meetings. They're not sure yet, and I'm not sure what capacity they have, since it's mostly just from May to August. But I think the more that you're in contact, the better.
Thank you.
Mia?
Yeah, Jessica, you mentioned some of the timelines, but there was nothing in the review there that mentioned the timeline. So I really had questions about that. And anybody else looking at this, not having talked to you, would not have any idea what the timeline is. So maybe that would be a good thing to put in.
Sure. So this proposal is the only document I had to share right now because I did submit it when I wanted the students to join the group. And now that they've joined, the next thing is going to be them writing a scope of work that will be shared that has timelines and specifics and everything. So yeah, I definitely could have included the timeline for everything. I'll share some more information, especially as they come into the next meeting, about how much they're working and their dates for being up in the town and attending meetings and things like that. But yeah, this was written before we knew if we were even going to get a student group. So I'm grateful that we did. But yeah, this is lacking some of that detail.
Thank you.
Christy, do you have another question?
I just wanted to also mention one thing. That timeline sounds amazing, but also, you know, when we were given the data of the square or the yards per what we inherited from Summit County, like for each of the portions of trail, et cetera, I have slowly been putting those into an Excel document and giving just a little more usability to that. Would that be beneficial? Should I continue that and give it, or is that not helpful?
I'll take a stab at that. So the data that was collected from the county took some time. In fact, maybe to some degree years to actually get a full list of dedications, easements, all that. And we were provided some really good information with regards to that, including all the reception numbers, all the information. In fact, you just reminded me I need to reach out to the county and maybe get the electronic data. Oops. If you want to do that, that would be good. But in the aspect of checks, just to absolutely make sure that everything was gathered. I believe it was. But if you would like to take a piece of your information and send it, we can certainly compare it to that to see, if it is indeed accurate.
Yeah, it's just basically the same data, but instead of a PDF format, it's in an Excel document.
I wouldn't want, no, don't. We have that ability.
You don't want that?
No, we don't need that. But thank you.
Good. Okay, good.
Jack, is your hand up because you have a question or just it was up?
No, I'm sorry. I should remove it. There we go. Sorry about that.
Remember what happened the last time you put your hand up?
Yeah. Shame on me. So before we leave this topic, how would we characterize next steps? We go forward on this initiative. We have the update. Is there any other questions or issues that need to be raised before we go on to the next agenda item?
For me, if there's nothing that I need to specifically make sure the students address other than what we've talked about, then the next step is I will reach out again when they want to join our next meeting or when they want to get in contact with you all and start facilitating you meeting them and getting started on the project.
I will say they're very enthusiastic, which is wonderful. In fact, I got the impression not all of them have even been to Keystone, and I don't know if that's true or not, but I kind of got that sense. And they were so excited that they are actually coming up this Saturday. I kind of like that. I actually offered, like, would you like me to, join you or whatever? And they want to experience it themselves, which is quite interesting to get fresh new eyes on that experience. So I commend that.
So what I'm hearing, it sounds like it's going to be collaborative.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, they are going to list you as there's some processes at school that they have to fill out this form and this, and so they ask for a lot of clarity on how the project will go. They are listing you as one of their top stakeholders to engage. They are not going to leave this out. They are very ready to reach out to you all.
That's great. You can give my number. I've got lots of stuff to show them. I have like historical cabins in my front yard on an easement that I don't know where they're from or what. I mean, I've read in a book that supposedly they're Swedish miners' log cabins.
That's really neat.
And then across the street is the only train depot in its original location in all of Summit County. And I also know that from reading this book, but there's no sign or, so there is a historical.
You sent that to me.
Yeah.
This is a good opportunity for me to say that all of the information that you all have been sending me, the pictures, like Ted sent a bunch of like renderings of improvements, anything that you send to me, I have compiled it all into one place. It is being inventoried and I have it available. So anything you send me, I'll keep adding to that folder, and if you all need something, I will send it to you and share it, but I'll also share it with the students. So that would be really helpful.
Okay, yeah.
Anything else? If not, are we ready to go to the community path ideas for East Keystone? And if so, who would want to lead this portion of the agenda?
I will provide some context about what we're asking you all to discuss and make recommendations about. So this is, let's call it part one in like a 3-meeting discussion about really like within reason, sky's the limit ideas for how the community path should be improved, treated in the town, connected. We really want to know, like, if you could make any suggestions starting all the way at like the very east side of Keystone, all the way west, like what should the future of this path look like? So things that we're asking could be where there are like horrible maintenance issues that need to be addressed, or where should there be benches and pedestrian amenities and new trail connections that are, so close together but not yet connected. And so all of this would be really helpful, and we don't want you to hold back because of financial concerns or hold back because of feasibility. Just like, let's hear all the ideas to start. And we'll start with East Keystone today, and I'll pull up that asset map where we defined the regions before. We'll do Central Keystone next time and West Keystone after that, so that we have a really good picture of what should the town focus on in future trail improvements, specifically community path. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So this should look
So
familiar to everybody. I'll share my screen too. Sorry, Jack. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I was just going to say that I know the initial approach was to have 3 different subgroups, each tackle an area, and there was discussion about how that isn't practical, I guess, from a
Yeah.
board, a town governance, et cetera, standpoint. So with that in mind, though, in teeing up East Keystone, are there those individuals that either live in East Keystone or had that as part of their deliverables that are prepared to discuss that tonight?
I live in East Keystone. I have some ideas, but nothing that, like, at one point, I thought we were all going to learn this new software and then apply that to our individual areas of responsibility. And now I'm hearing also that that's been squashed, that the 3 teams and the
For now,
central, east and
yeah.
west approach, that's no
For now,
longer.
we can't break into groups. It's a complicated public open meetings issue to navigate. And so we want to get going with some of this. So we want to start this discussion. We haven't really worked out a good way to break into groups, but I have an idea for the next meeting that I'm working on that might involve more breakout in the session with report out happening. Just tonight, it was not able to be done, but we do want to focus so that we can really get like targeted recommendations. The software that Ted introduced that had instructions about how to like make those really cool, like rendered photos of improvements is still totally a great thing to do. So if you want to start doing that tonight while we're discussing and pull it up and share something, that would be great. If you want to do it on your own time and send it to me and have me share it with everybody, that would also be great. We just want to focus on being able to discuss by region without running into this issue of people meeting in groups.
I lived in East Keystone and am pretty familiar with it, but I'm not sure that I'm familiar with every path known to mankind, but there's ones that I am familiar with. So I have, I haven't walked them for a long time, since the fall, but I'm pretty familiar with a lot of them.
So what I can do to help at any point in this discussion is pull up Google Maps, pull up trail maps that we have, anything that would help for you to demonstrate any ideas you have or areas you want to focus on. This map is just to be like, this is kind of the boundary that we're starting with. But let me know what can be useful for ideas.
I have a question also, like there are people that I know that walk all over Keystone a lot, and they might have some good perspective. Could we invite them to come to a meeting?
Sure. Absolutely.
Alan, do you ever run into Mark and Karen?
Yes.
Yeah.
I run into them almost every day.
No, I was coming here and they're like, do you know a guy named Alan? I'm like, then I'm sitting here going like, well, they walk everywhere.
Yeah.
All over Keystone.
Yeah, they live in the ranch.
Yeah, they're walking. I mean, they walk everywhere.
Way over to the east side.
Yeah. So I'd like to, I think they might have something to say if.
Oh, yeah.
There's a little bit more.
Great suggestion.
Yeah, I mean, all meetings are open to the public and the public can comment if there's something on the agenda they want to talk about. So that is certainly fair game. And we, do want to hear from people who have all this knowledge about the area.
Is like there's a trail, a herd trail behind the power line that goes up Wolf Rock.
Okay.
Is Wolf Rock in Keystone or is that National Forest land?
I do not know. There might be someone in the audience that, I think it's on Forest.
Finding area that's like above the parking lot, that's on Forest.
Yeah, but from northwest parking lot, there is a trail that leads up behind the Keystone Garage and Center there, and then kind of works its way around the west side of Wolf Rock. And it will eventually bring you on top. And so there's a trail that then, well, there is no trail that I'm aware of, but it's the way to get to Porcupine, the top of Porcupine.
That's all Forest Service.
That's all Forest Service.
Yeah.
And so we can't make any recommendations on Forest Service land?
Not currently.
No, but
Connection, if you think that this is appropriate as there needs to be a better connection here. For example, does there need to be a crosswalk to get people across the road to get to this trailhead? Should there be a point on the community path that branches off that leads you towards this trail so that people know to get to it and are easily able to? These are the types of, this is like the way that you can have a discussion about connecting to Forest Service
You could have
trails.
maybe a sign on a community path with an arrow, 0.5 miles this way
Yeah.
to the Wolf whatever trail.
Yes.
There are many, many trails that eventually end up in national forests, but people don't know about them because there are no signs.
Mhm.
And so yeah, that's great. That's what, because like you could put a sign in the north side of that parking lot
Mhm.
where the trail is leading up to the top of Wolf Rock.
Yeah. I don't even have it on this map. It looks.
so Alan, the one thing I do want to say to that is the concept is good. What we would, in this case, I don't think that's a sanctioned trail. I think that's a social trail. We would have to be very careful. We're not going to get in, the town is not going to get in a position that supports the notion of utilizing social trails on Forest Service property. That's just not the way things are done. Now, with that being said, say there was a trail in place, well, everything Jessica said certainly would be applicable. We'll do everything we can to support the notion of utilization and potential amenities associated with that trailhead. But we have to be incredibly careful with regards to not, for a lack of a better way of saying it, creating an unsanctioned trail.
What is a social trail?
So it's an unsanctioned trail.
Okay.
Just something that's started and over the years kind of
Walking, but it's not-
happened.
Yes.
Probably doesn't meet
Maintain.
applicable standards.
Gotcha.
Probably has some water quality, erosion control issues. So, we don't want that to happen.
But on East Keystone, that one that's Wolf Rock, the road, not, like when you go down in before on Montezuma to the furthest part of Independence,
Mhm.
and then back there in Settlers Creek.
Mhm.
There's a path that goes up, kind of goes up to some rocks. Is that a social path? Is the one going around?
That's called the nature trail
Yes.
Yeah.
behind those homes along the river.
Yep. Yep.
And that's the original nature trail. And then there's a second nature trail that
Has a
when
high
you-
degree of
when you get to the top of the road that leads up to the big water tower,
Yep.
instead of going up that road, you follow it down. That leads to the second nature trail, which then takes you over to the Alders, and the comes down between the Alders and Durham's Dash.
Yeah. And then a lot of people.
That's really nice. I do that almost every day.
Yeah.
Wintertime and summer.
So, as someone who knows the trail very well, do you think that there are needed improvements or connections to the community path that would be helpful there because of how frequently it's used by so many people?
Well, when you cross the second bridge
Mhm,
past Trappers Crossing,
mhm.
there's a chain link fence behind those homes there in that development. There's no sign. Absolutely no sign. When you walk behind the homes and there's a fork, and if you go straight, it takes you to the woods property. I call it the woods trail. And
And that's the
you can't-
higher degree of difficulty one, right?
No, that's
You come
it's
down-
very flat. It's very easy.
Okay.
But if you go to the right, there is a sign that says Nature Trail. And that takes you up to the rock, and it's the highest viewpoint in the valley, Keystone Valley, looking west. It's beautiful up there year round. And then that eventually leads to the road that takes you up to the water tower into Gary's abandoned cabin on Jones Gulch.
Pilot load. I happen to know it.
The what?
The pilot load.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
So my question is just, what's the community path? I mean, are we discussing, is that from River Run, the paved path that then crosses Montezuma Road, comes along the parking lot, crosses back over into Settlers Creek? Because then you can loop that back around kind of by the river there, back into River Run. So is that all the community path, or is part of that?
This map somewhat shows what we're talking about. I'm gonna try to do. There's like a weird lag when I use my mouse. So the paved is the dark brown.
I don't,
See it?
is that where your hand is?
No,
There's a hand. Oh, can you? Okay.
let me wiggle it.
Oh, yeah, perfect. That's,
This color.
okay.
Okay.
So the community path is the part that goes this way. It is the more northern side of the Snake River. Is that right?
Okay.
Or am I backwards?
No, you're right.
No, that's correct.
Yeah.
Northern side.
One side.
Yeah, so it's really the northern side, which the reason why this is such a good focus right now is primarily in town maintenance jurisdiction. So we have a lot of ability to make improvements along this, whereas the rec path has split ownership depending on what segment you're on. It's also, in a sense, a travel corridor that runs parallel to Highway 6 that has opportunity for connection to the northern side of the highway. So the town manager was really excited about starting with this because those are two things that we can start talking about, is improving connectivity and safety while like addressing some of the northern side of the highway connectivity issues with it. And also because we have a little bit more sphere of control over it right now. So I don't know if this is a map that was made a while back by SE Group, who is doing our comprehensive plan. It may not be entirely accurate or up to date, but it is a pretty good quick look at where trails are located in town and where that community path is. And
Okay, so we're talking, so you were talking way at the bottom of the,
so I'm gonna zoom.
okay.
We're generally, like, we would love to just start all the way as east as you can go, and just ideas about what needs to be done or what could be done that would be an improvement for this segment. And we'll keep going in subsequent meetings as well.
Okay.
You know, Jessica, as I'm listening to what you're saying, it seems like we're trying to identify what are quote givens, you know, what are, like you said, this seems to be a logical path that, the town agrees we can do something about.
Mhm.
And then the second part of it would be if in identifying these paths that either are existing or that are highly recommended, what are those elements that we need to be prepared to comment on to give the feedback that it's needed to know what we're proposing? There are maintenance issues. Are there incomplete path segments that would need to be completed? Are there ownership issues? Are there, whatever those main issues could be that need to be considered before a lot of detail is put behind it. And I'll just speak for myself. I just feel still a bit ignorant about what are those things that we need to be considering before or how to identify what are those things that are doable that we really need to put our energy behind.
That's fair.
I-
So
Yeah.
I don't want you to get too hung up in what are the issues you need to solve. I really want to challenge you all to just say like, what would be great to have here?
Yeah, I really feel like I need to go do, like, now that I'm looking at this, I feel like I need to go, walk it,
That would be great to do.
Yeah.
Walk it, take pictures.
Yeah, and if we're gonna agree like on this, particularly East Keystone, what today, like, is East Keystone to River Run? Or what did you say? Or East Keystone?
That's generally a good place to
So
start.
maybe we can become familiar and try to do that. I just don't feel prepared to give you from my memory of last fall.
That is totally fine.
Do you have a pointer?
I do not. That would be helpful, right? Izzy, do you have a pointer?
You don't,
You do?
no, you can just like this.
Okay, well, I'm
maybe
going to
if
short
I-
for that.
I have a suggestion. You see this lake here? And Ski Tip is here.
Yeah, I'm going to try to follow with my mouse so that people online can see what we're pointing to.
I have walked through here. I think it's Red Hawk and townhomes, and then there's some new
The King.
townhomes that have been built.
Yeah.
And there's an open space which leads to here.
I think that's
And this
right.
lake, this is dry now. There's no water there. But there is a trail when you get into here,
Mhm.
and it leads along the river on the north side.
Mhm.
And there are some benches that people have put in there. It's all forested. And it leads over to here, to this, this is Trappers crossing here, and it
Mhm.
leads to here. An extension through here, all through, massive spruces and trees. It's just really, really pretty. That would be, I think we have a lot of room to maneuver in there.
Mhm.
And I'm happy to walk that with anyone that would like to.
Does that belong to Ski Tip Ranch? Is that their property? Do they want, I can't help but like, what now? There's all these people, we bought our houses here and all these people, there's walking through, it's like a public walkway. Wasn't that way when I bought it.
So when you walk through Red Hawk townhomes, and it leads to that new development, okay? The new condos.
Chambers,
I don't know the name. What is it?
Camber Townhomes?
Camber.
Okay.
CAMBER.
There's open land there. And you could have a trail right through there. It leads to that lake. And then there's a trail, a social trail that follows to the river. And and it's just beautiful hiking along that river. There are no homes or anything in there. And then it leads right to the bridge.
I believe that Vail Resorts owns that little small tract of land back there. If I know where you're talking.
You pull up the,
I think I
Trails
think I know where you're
map.
talking about.
the MOU map.
Yeah.
Just- Yeah, so yeah. Alan, can you point?
Looks like it's
Zoom in on.
county government transfer to Keystone, with the hatching.
I think it's over here.
Skeeton, where's Skeeton?
Here's West Independence.
Yeah, and here's the bridge.
I jumped the bridge and I think the chairs are like right in here.
Yeah, yeah. And so it follows the river and then comes up and out. It seems like there's open area.
Would you do that slowly so I can follow you again? I'm sorry, Alan.
Yeah, so I know it starts here,
Okay.
Independence Road, and then follows the river through this area, and there's a lake, and I don't know exactly. You can see the lake on the other one that was up, but I've followed it. I've hiked it. It's all through open land, but would have to have easement rights and things like that to get
So
there.
we'll take we gotta really stop that. They we'll take a look at that. Certainly, it would start with walking in alignment.
And you see, what I'm always looking for areas where I can, my daily hikes with some area different. Because when you get to here, you see, these are all these homes.
Yep.
There's a trail right over here that follows all along the river.
Yep.
And then
That's the one that's marked pedestrian only, I believe.
Yeah.
that's the nature trail.
So where you're going, I have a good news moment based on this map. I, again, little cautious about the accuracy of it, but my recollection of this is, and this beautiful map that was generated, it is now it's been transferred to the town. If that is indeed the case, that gives us a lot more flexibility. Where we don't have as much flexibility is when it crosses private HOAs and things like that. But we could, now that we have this data, it's going to be a tool that we can actually use to see who owns what and what we can do as far as alignments. Now, what I do want to caution you on is when you get next to rivers, it gets a little bit more complex with regards to potential improvements. Okay, just throwing that out.
Jessica, where on the website can you find these maps? I know I had access to them and I can't find them now.
You sent them to us in the email, right?
Yeah, I can always resend them.
It's okay.
I sent these and they are in any of the previous packets
Okay.
that are also online. If you go back, we don't have them posted like alone somewhere on our website,
Okay.
but just let me know if you have trouble finding it.
Okay. Thank you. Chrissy?
Yeah, I was just curious about what Lindsay was sort of alluding to as far as when you're up against the water, the river, or if there would ever be desire for river access. The reason I'm asking is because there is an interest in fundraising to improve the river quality, and there would be support for fly fishing on our portion of the Snake, not to catch things yet because things can't live in it, but to practice fishing. And so Trout Unlimited and a fly shop in Silverthorne has shown interest in doing like a workshop or a series where you could cast on the Snake, just do casting practice, and then that would lead to funds for trails and open space or river quality. So I just wondered if there's any guidelines as far as that you could share right away about, would that ever be a possibility?
Yes, it would absolutely be a possibility. You may be a little bit nervous with regards I don't, without talking about a specific piece of property, I don't want to necessarily encourage a trespass issue
Of
with
course.
private property. With that being said, what I was alluding to is improvements along river corridors and wetlands. It raises the bar with regards to how to get it done. There are floodplain issues. There are certain regulations that have to be abided by and utilized. It absolutely can be done. It just takes it to a new level of process.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's kind of what I thought could be just a marker that we could keep an eye on. That way you're limiting, or you're really giving access where you would want people to do it versus, as you were saying, areas that you would not want them to do it.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I make a motion? Just, I recommend that we stick to the paved path right now, for purposes of right now, and also get familiar with all of that. But it's great to hear about all of these other things, but for our focus, to get something done, that would have the most impact would be that paved path right now. And I think we need to get familiar with all these other things as well. I think that sounds really interesting.
So I have a bit of good news. I don't know how this happened. Someone found me, and this individual had a bench dedicated to them, and they want to give it to the town. I'm currently working with them. It's actually going to be delivered tomorrow. A free bench, a nice bench, brand new. And I am working with Mark Matthews with KMC to make sure that the eventual location works from a maintenance standpoint. So it's falling, things like that will be falling into place. So very nice. Very nice. In fact, when you're out walking tomorrow through the alders, there's a stake in the ground that's marked bench. Let's just know if that's a decent location.
Oh, cool.
It is.
Yeah, it sounds it.
But yes, to Elle's point, it would be beneficial to focus around the community path for now. Like, we will get to every part of every trail that we can, but right now it would be great to hear things like, should we try to have benches across certain areas of the path to like get people to go out there and use it more and walk and sit? Should we look at more connections that the trail goes over the north side of Montezuma? Does there need to be more sidewalk connections that bring people to that part of the trail, since so much of town's amenities and residential areas are on the south side? These are the types
and
of
a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know the path is over there, and they drive.
Yes.
They go down the road down. They go down Montezuma.
Yes. So those are the types of things that you could think about if you want to go out and walk, and then come up with some recommendations and send them to me. Or if anyone still has ideas right now that they want to discuss, like, just consider sky's the limit. What does the community path need to make it more usable?
Signage, but you all know that.
I wanted to say that, but I'm.
That's what it needs.
Well, it's a validating point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nobody knows where it is. Yeah.
I think what she's trying to get out of you is think out of the box. Sky's the limit. So while I would imagine all of you have walked in maybe even different countries and certainly different areas, Denver, just any amenities, anything that you've seen in the past.
Good question.
Help us, and we'll, is it appropriate? She wants you to throw everything against the wall and see what.
Sky's the limit. Yeah, you want wider
It's possible.
paths, you want
wider
bike lanes.
there you go.
Lanes and
There you go.
I want bike lanes and walking lanes. Yeah, designated.
Okay.
What are all the things that make your favorite paved trails that are not here great?
Yeah, why? What does that? What do you like? Oh, wow. This amenity, it's kind of cool. You remember it.
Well, I would like to have things for people, for their dogs, to clean up after their
Oh,
dogs.
yes.
Garbage cans all over.
I was gonna say, that sounds like just trash and recycling along the path.
It's something like parks in Denver where, the paths are wider and it's marked bikes are on this side and bikes go, this way and pedestrians are over here. So that way you could walk your dog on the Summit County Rec path and you would be on your side with the dog and you don't have to worry about bikes. Because right now it's hard to walk a dog on that path.
Another thought is I would maybe want to extend it along Montezuma Road towards Montezuma because there's that rock climbing area down there and the little parking area is frequently full. So if people could just take the path to that, that would free up the parking.
Oh, cool.
When you cross Montezuma Road and you're on the rec path and you're going east and you're the north side of the road, there's an old mine right there that you see.
Mhm.
And I'm always interested in the past and what they did there.
And maybe there's even QR code that could be scannable,
I think this is neat to relay to the students as well about okay, here's some interesting sites to help direct people. I like the QR idea.
Maybe a bench to sit down and kind of pull up over there, that kind of thing.
And again, then also you're going to have your bike, so maybe a place to put, maybe not, I don't know, but someplace for the bike to go. So people just don't stop on the path.
Mhm.
Pull up. Definitely.
Pull over.
Yeah.
Pull over.
Okay, let's go to online. Jack and Mia both have their hand raised too.
Sorry.
Okay, these are great suggestions. The ideas are flowing now.
I mean, when you climb up Independence Peak via Jones Gulch, behind Gary's cabin there on Jones Gulch, you get up to 3 old mines or old cabins, miners' cabins.
Mhm.
And then
Been up to see them.
you take the switchbacks up to the Idabel mines, and boy, I would love some signage around there knowing the history there, because from what I know from reading, what's her name? She wrote the handbook to hiking in Summit County.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
I'm blanking on her name. Anyway, 365,000 metric tons was pulled out of there, gold, silver, and copper.
See, that'd be cool. Again, I don't know if you have cell service there, but that would be, if you could, I don't know if you have it there or not, but you could pull the QR code and read all about it.
Yeah. If you get high enough, you get good cell coverage.
Okay.
But
Let's see what Jack and Mia online have to say, and then Christy.
Well, I wanted to say something about, not exactly about the trails, but all of this talk just made me so wish that there would be a video. Like if one of the kids could just take their phone and go along this and bring up these questions and do it. And so people could see where this trail was and what might be there. And it would, I think, spark a lot of interest and give people a visual about where we're talking about, and they could maybe follow it. Anyway, just a thought of videos to help with some of this research and implementation.
That would be great. And one thing I've suggested to the students is there's a information gathering platform called Photo Voice, and it allows anyone, it could be the students, it could be anyone who's walking along the trail, to basically take a picture or a video and write a few words and submit it to the students basically. And they could say, oh wow, we got like 10 pictures of this one spot. This must be really important, and let's see what people wrote about it. And so that is one thing I've suggested that they do, if they're able to, is like allow people to submit photos and videos while on the path to provide information.
And it's called Photo Voice?
Photo Voice. There are other platforms, but generally this process is an engagement process called Photo Voice.
Thanks.
No, just my thoughts in just hearing the ideas that are being put together here is pretty exciting. Obviously, the people that walk the paths and live in that area and experience it every day are in the best position to come up with these ideas, and it's pretty exciting. I'm trying to think about how is there a way that I guess two people could put together a proposal, if you will, with enough detail and present it at our meeting that people can react to, add to, modify. You know, it's like you see something in front of you that's detailed enough that you then can react to and improve upon or offer more ideas and brainstorm from there. I know that, again, I'll admit I don't understand as probably as well as I need to the governance laws that shape how many people can work on something at one time without having to invite the population to be a part of it. But is there a way that we can do that? You know, have two individuals put something together, take what's been brainstormed, present it to the group, and then have the group respond and react and add and modify and go from there.
Yes, that can absolutely be done. That's a great idea. There's two ways that could happen. Two people, and only two, could meet outside of this meeting and work on something together and send it to me before the next meeting to include in the agenda. And that can be presented and discussed in this setting. Alternatively, we could print out, maybe you create a map or some sort of visual, those people, we could print it out and in small groups in this room, discuss it, and then report out during the public meeting so that you can still have an opportunity to work in like a small work group in this room during this time, while not violating the open meeting laws. Both of those the second one is kind of what I'm hoping to get us to, is to be able to break into groups while we're here so that you can work and then come back together and it does not cause any of those issues that we're trying to avoid. Today was not feasible just with how many people needed to be online. I didn't want to break us into little groups, but in the future, that is absolutely a way that we can have smaller work groups in the public setting.
No, I'm just trying to think about how we capture these great ideas in a way that we don't, you know, we create sort of an approach and a understanding of what we're trying to accomplish with that approach, and then we can replicate it for the different areas. And as
Yeah,
well,
great.
as long, I'm sorry, pardon me.
I just said, I think that's great. You can go on.
No, I'm just saying that if we could do that, we still get the benefit of the collective knowledge and brainstorming of our entire group, but we sort of narrow the playing field, if you will, by having something in front of us that we can react to and understand and digest and modify and go from there.
I like that idea a lot. How does everyone else feel about that potential approach? Seeing nods.
Yeah.
Okay, I do want to revisit that. I have some follow-up questions about what we could do in the next meeting related to that suggestion. First, Christy and Mia, I would love to hear from you, and then I have some follow-up questions about how should we approach this next iteration.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, the original, the person suggesting the AI or how to create maps, I think is building on what, or leading into what Jack's talking about. I just think that that's definitely more, able to build something. And I just thought I'd throw in maybe picnic tables, or, I mean, that's always something to look forward to be able to gather with a group somewhere. So I don't know where that could be, or even, I don't know if you go full on gazebo or something of a sunshade. But yeah, just love the maps. It's almost like every kid that ever gets to a zoo or something, or a new town, and then has the waypoints and the check marks on the map to go and find things on the map, is a big engagement piece.
And I was just going to say that I really like Jack's idea and a couple of suggestions. One would be that we try a pilot of a limited area, half mile, whatever can be done, so that it's very specific and people could visit it beforehand or whatever. But looking at this map and saying East Keystone, I'm just not that familiar with East Keystone, so it's really hard to figure out where everybody's talking about. So if it could be a little bit more defined and smaller just to start, and then once people are rolling and we can deal with bigger sections, it might be easier to expand that. Thanks.
I think that's a great suggestion. And I think this is a good stopping point on this discussion, because what I'm hearing is that some more definition about what you're providing input on would be helpful. Having some time to go out and see it and really like understand the area that we're talking about. And then the third being, let's plan that 2 or multiple pairs work on putting something together that can be commented on and shared in the next meeting, so that there's something to work with and it's not just a broad discussion. Yes, I'm seeing nods.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that all sounds great. Is there, who wants to proceed with maybe joining up with another person and being part of creating some sort of material that gets presented? I think that's step one.
Do you want to walk with me the path and I'll video?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, sure.
And
Okay,
again,
is there another pair? Go ahead.
I was going to say, and the focus is East Keystone.
Yes, and Mia did suggest that maybe it needs to be even narrower and we need to choose just
Right.
like a half a mile or a mile segment. Let me pull up a different map to look at that. There's like a really weird lag with my mouse, sorry. Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry. Well, let's start with the segment of the path. There we go. Never had so many technical difficulties. Okay, let's do the segment of the path that ends. We're going to start as east as possible. It doesn't have to be where there is existing paved path. If you think there's an area that needs some walking attention for proposed path, and let's stop. And I'm open to feedback on this. Let's stop at West Independence Road. That's this connection right here by, is this where Camber is?
No.
No. What is this neighborhood right here?
That's, this is us. This is Stage Drive. This is the Alders and that's Stage Drive right there.
Okay, so let's say everything east of here. Is that a good enough segment or is that
I
too
still
small?
can't see.
I know where, so this is,
Let me see if I can get my other map.
right here, this is, right when you come in, where she was coming, this road up there at that intersection. This is where you come down, then this is the Alders, this part, the other part's the Alders
Oh,
up there.
Okay, let me see if this is better.
Yeah, that's better.
This is, I'm proposing that maybe this is the stopping point, so all of
all that?
this area to start.
Ah, okay.
Does that seem like a big and small enough segment to focus?
Oh, yeah. No, that's good.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, so the plan is, I'm hearing, Elle and Alan are going to walk this area and maybe trails that branch off or are related to this area and put together pictures or maps or drawings or anything that you think would be helpful to present at the next meeting. And we'll all have a chance to look at it and discuss and make recommendations in a more specific and detail-oriented way.
What software can we use or should we use? What do you recommend? With, we'll take pictures, but we want to put it in presentation format.
You can, so I think it's somewhat up to you and what you're comfortable with. Putting it in a presentation, like a PowerPoint presentation or, whatever format you like to use, totally fine. We can definitely put that up here. If you would rather, leave comments on a map, you could write them and scan it in or digital. That is also an option. I think it's up to you both.
Okay.
Okay, we'll figure something.
We can work with whatever you do and I can help.
Okay. Yeah. We'll walk it, we'll video it, and then we'll figure out how we want to present it. Because I'm not familiar with the software to integrate to the map with that. And
How can you do PowerPoint?
we can do we'll just do a video. I'll just do a video.
Yeah, but just insert the videos in the PowerPoint program.
Yeah, or we can just use the video and have it be a PowerPoint. Like, like it can just be we can put text on the video too, either way. Well,
whatever you want, I can certainly help with.
Okay.
We have until the 4th Thursday of April is our next meeting. So there's plenty of time. And I do want to say that if there's another pair or even individual who is interested in also putting something together on that segment, that is also welcomed. I don't want to say all 15 of you, have a presentation for next week, but if there's others that would like to do this exercise, it's certainly more beneficial to have different perspectives.
Could I get a copy of this map?
Yes. Okay. Was there anyone else that wanted to volunteer now to do a similar exercise? It's okay if not.
Similar exercise in the same area?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I will go take a look at it at some point, and I will have a fresh set of eyes because I live in the far west Keystone, so this is unfamiliar to me, so I can see it as someone who doesn't know the trails, who could be like, wow, I wish there was a sign
We had
here.
like 5 people that lived in East Keystone.
Yeah. I truthfully don't know who that is off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But that is fine, and maybe they're not here tonight, and that's okay too. But again, having a fresh perspective and the familiar perspective is beneficial. And then once you have something in front of you, everyone else can also chime in with, oh, I know that part, and I think there should be this here.
And it'll be the test drive to get things going, to see if this, whatever we do works as an effective way to present something or not, or, we'll do the test drive. We'll be the guinea pig.
Yeah, and I'll be walking through there for sure, so I'll take some
Awesome.
pictures and whatnot.
Great.
Yeah, I'll bring something.
You live in East Keystone too?
No, but I walk over there. I live behind Dos Locos, so I walk East Keystone a lot. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Perfect.
Okay, this sounds great. I'm going to, for future meetings, we'll plan to go segment by segment instead of east, central, west. We'll slow it down, go smaller segments at a time. I think that's going to be way better for getting good feedback anyway. So this sounds great to me. Does anyone else have any other, I don't know, things we needed to address on this part? Okay.
Okay, are
Alright,
we,
back to you?
all right, are we ready for adjournment?
Yes, indeed.
I have a question, Jessica. I have a couple of friends that are really avid e-bikers. When we bring this up again, can I invite them? And I think their perspective might be quite valuable for everyone to hear.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know when it'll be on the agenda because I want to talk to the town manager and make sure that council wants that input before we set that up. But you will be notified ahead of time, and you can invite, in any scenario, invite members of the public to come who are passionate about a particular thing on the agenda and might have something to say.
Okay, good.
Alan, this forum is not meant to stifle by any means. So it is a public meeting.
Perfect. Thanks.
Any other items?
I'll move to adjourn.
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, meeting adjourned, 7:23 p.m.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
It's